This is today's build. So I spent the last couple of hours working on this thing. It was not what I was expecting, so I had kind of pre-run the build. So this was previously my X99 build, and then I decided that I needed a little more space for the X99 based system. So I pulled that out of it, but I didn't completely gut the build. I basically just pulled the board chip, RAM, and GPUs out, and so I was left with this. I even still had the power supply in place. Everything was good still. So I thought I was going to just drop the board in and be done with it, and it took a lot longer than that. This took about an hour to do. So the final configuration that we have, this is a Intel Core i9 9820X. That is a X299 based platform setup. We are running a Gigabyte X299 Designaire. I've seen so many. It's Designaire, Designaire. Okay then. Gigabyte X299 Designaire EX. If I pronounce that right. Probably didn't, but maybe I did. It's got a 2 terabyte NVMe in the middle slot because I got 4 Samsung enterprise grade, and they're like that long. They're longer than the standard 2280s or whatever, 2240 that the standard size is. So I have one of those. I only have one slot that'll take that, and that's the center slot, so that's where it is. It's not particularly high performance, but it's probably high endurance, so that'll be good. We've got 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB. I think it's 3200. Corsair 240mm AIO RGB. Currently, there is this EVGA 3070 Ti in there, but that's literally, I had the card sitting on the desk, so I slapped it in to make sure it worked. But this is going to be a build for older cards. 2080 Ti and older is the target for this build. 1000 watt Corsair, 1000 watt EVGA, I think it's a GQ, 1000 GQ. Full load of Corsair LL120 fans, the 3 on the front, 2 on the top, 1 on the back, which is the full designed loadout of fans with the fronts blowing in, tops blowing out, back blowing out. I'm trying to think what else. There is a 4 terabyte hard drive. It's a POS Western Digital green around the back. I had it in the case before, and I figured, whatever, I'll leave it in. Every now and then I need random data storage, so I like having a decent sized drive in all of the machines, even if the WD green does kind of suck, the big one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else of relevance in here. Oh, case, if you're wondering, is a Corsair 500D SE. My favorite case of all time. I have only ever owned 4 of them. I know it seems like a lot, but when you do tech stuff like this, a lot of cases go through your hands. I keep every one that I get now because it's my favorite case, and I'm considering standardizing all my cases because I have like 5 computers for my own uses. So I'm considering standardizing to that case if I can get a few more of them, but like 4 of them went up on the market all at the same time, and I basically just went out and bought all of them. So I got good deals on them too. I got them for like 50 bucks a piece, this is a hell of a $50 case. But anyway, so we are going to build this thing, and you guys are going to get a watch. It is worth mentioning, this is not a build for a customer. This is a personal build. This is going to be our old but not ancient GPU test rig. So this is going to test 2080 Ti's, 1080 Ti's, 2070s. I might mess with this 3070 a little. 980 Ti's, 980 SLI, stuff like that. Stuff that's high-end, several generation old, but not quite to the point of being ancient yet. So that's what the purpose of this is. I've been wanting to do 1080 Ti testing, 2080 testing, And I don't like, I call it juicing the hell out of the GPU. The results that you get out of these GPUs, if you put them in something like a 13900K, 14900K, 7800X3D, stuff like that, like a lot of the other YouTubers do, you will get results that some would say are unnatural, to quote Star Wars. You will get results that aren't realistic. I want to test these parts in real world usage scenarios. I want them period specific tested, and I want them tested in systems that people might actually use. People might actually buy a X299 with a 2080 Ti or a pair of 980 Ti's and SLI or something like that. People actually buy these builds. Nobody buys a 13900K with a 980 Ti. Nobody does that. That's not a thing. I mean, I guess somebody's done it, but it's not really a thing. That's not what people are doing. So I want to test them in real world scenarios. So stay tuned. We are going to build this sucker, and then over the next however long I mess with stuff, we will do game testing. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get started. As I already commented on in the introduction, which you saw already and I have not done yet, this is a partial build, not a full build. So this was actually originally my... Oh, hopefully that all fits. That's going to be not good if that doesn't all fit. So this was my X99 high-end setup. Oh, this could be a problem. Uh-oh. I didn't even think about this. This is going to be bad if I can't... We'll see what happens once I pull this. So this is the first video with my new camera. I actually specifically bought this camera. Oh look, I was missing a, that's funny, I was missing a screw on that. I specifically bought this camera for these types of videos. Okay, let's see if this will go in. I think it will. I think we just were a little bit tight on the top. Unless this case doesn't fit. I'm going to be surprised if it doesn't, though. What is going on? Okay, there we go. It's definitely tight. No doubt on that. Oh, what is going on here? The heck? Huh. Oh, come on. I got a problem with the, oh, what the heck? You know, I was literally just going to comment on how much I like this built-in IO shield setup, and now I'm thinking that it might be causing us some real problems here. What the heck is going on? There's something weird. These screws aren't, well, the top, all but the top ones are lining up. It's kind of odd. Let's see. I should have checked. I wonder... Come on. What's going on here? We have all... Oh, I wonder... What is... Okay, so... Okay, so that is there. Now, what is going on here? You know, I've dealt with some boards like this before, and as awesome as some of these extras seem at first, like the back plate, for example, on the board. Wait, is that supposed to go in and under? Okay, this is just weird. I can't believe that does that. I think it does, though. Okay, we're gonna have to... Man, I thought this was gonna be just a quick drop it in and call it good, but I am not so sure about that. So worst case scenario, I may end up having to put this build in a different case. What is going on here? Yeah, they're not lining up. Something is blocking, which is really weird because all the other screws are lining up. But something is blocking. Something's blocking just these top ones. And I'm not really sure what's going on. It's really odd, though. Come on. Okay, so... Now, once this is done, I'm not going to use... So currently it has 128 gigs of memory in it. I'm not planning on actually using all of that with it. I plan on using this with probably a different kit of 32 gigs of Corsair that I've got. Okay, I think that worked. I'm a little uncomfortable. I guess I'll know when I turn it on and it goes up in a puff of smoke. Let's see here. Okay, where are my screws? I don't think we have really that big of a risk, but I'm definitely not thrilled with, yeah, see that? Yeah, that didn't quite go in right either. Okay, so they all screwed in good. Man, that is not really something I'm thrilled with, but whatever. So, a big part of the reason why I picked this deal up is because it had 64 gigs of memory of DDR4. No, I'm sorry, not 64. 128. It had 128 gigs of DDR4 memory in the machine on a X299 board. So all of the memory slots, as you can see, are populated. And honestly, like, I waffled on it for a little while, and I was thinking, you know, I've been meaning to pick up. It's been a while since I had a high end. It's been like 4 or 5 months since I had my last high end X299, and I really need. I need something faster than X99 for testing with. I don't want to test on my 13900K because I find it to be a not realistic test. But I needed faster than the X99. So faster than the 6950X, which is actually not in the build yet, but is going to be. So I needed faster than the 6950X, but I needed slower, just something more period accurate. Not only that, but I don't think I can run SLI on my whatchamajigger on the 13900K anyway. I'm pretty sure Z 790. I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually support SLI. Because I do remember I looked into it a little while back, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it didn't actually support it. So that doesn't do me any good anyway. Okay. I'm running out of this stuff. And of course, I forgot the real trick on CPU compound is to turn the machine on and run it for a minute, just long enough for it to heat up a little, and then you turn it off and you spread the thermal compound. That's how I used to do it. To be honest, though, I don't think I want this thing turned on until everything is solidly in place, to be honest. Yeah, this thermal compound's definitely less than ideal, but I think it'll work. Okay. Probably need to buy myself some high-end thermal compound, to be honest. There you are. Okay. That is good. So we'll see. The board that was in here before was I believe it was an Asus board. This one's a Gigabyte board, so we'll see how well they line up. That. And then, let's see, I wonder how big of a pain in the butt the 8 pins are going to be. Let's see here. I gotta put that fan back in too. I put the 8 pins for this. Are they? There's one of them. Looks like I got. Oh, looks like I got 2 of them now. So we're good there. Oh, that's why it's missing one. I forgot. I had. Wow, that is like tight. That is so tight. It's literally dead on. If it was just a little bit taller on that back, on this back part of the board there, it would be too big or too tall. Okay, so this board, or shall I say this case, is definitely not really intended for a board this big. I mean, obviously you can get away with it, but it's clear it does not like it. So much for an easy, like 15-minute build here. On the bright side, the new camera, part of the reason I wanted a different camera for this purpose was because, what's going on here? So this particular, you know what? We can actually pull that up. So for this particular use case, the other camera that I was using had a 30-minute file size limitation or file length limitation. And to make it even better, it had no like obvious indicator that I could see that it had stopped recording. So it would, like, the only thing I was able to come up with was to use just a timer and run a 30-minute timer. I mean, you can do that. I just don't like doing it. So the way it is now, I've actually got the record light, or the record indicator, is actually on screen now, which is nice. So the other problem with the camera that I was using was also that it didn't, we're just going to put this one through here, same deal. So the previous camera, it couldn't show all the data related to the camera on screen, which is actually really odd. Usually it's the other way around. So usually what happens is cameras that basically do what you want them to do output what we call clean HDMI. And what that clean HDMI allows you to do is effectively, if you've seen YouTubers where you see they have a big DSLR camera behind them, like behind their monitor facing them. Basically, having clean HDMI allows you to just output the actual recorded video, or what it would see while you're recording. It allows you to output that to either a monitor or into something like a capture card. So you could, that's what allows people to use large cameras as webcams, basically. But that feature tends to be more rare, at least in my experience, than because if you're outputting all of the data, like your all your video settings, your ISO, your shutter speed, all that kind of stuff, typically that's going to show up if you capture video. So having clean HDMI out allows you to actually, that's just great. That's going to have to go over to, it's not quite what I wanted, but it's okay. So by having clean HDMI out, it lets you just straight up record the video straight into a computer or capture device or whatever you want, just like you would, like you see my game demos, just like that. But typically, a camera is, at least in my experience, more likely to have it tends to be more rare for them to have that clean HDMI out, basically. But this one, or the the old camera, had clean HDMI out, but no no data on screen when I was filming in 4K. Okay, let's see if I can get this back in right now. Am I good? Oh, I'm good. Okay. I guess it doesn't really matter how good it looks. This isn't a... I mean, it's got RGB everywhere, but it's technically not a build for a buyer, so... I'm really mad at myself for unloading the last X299 build. It was back when I first got back into making these videos and doing sales and stuff. And it was before I got the idea of getting into like GPU collecting and doing that kind of thing. And so it just didn't occur to me that I might want that for testing. I just saw a couple of quick bucks that I could make. What is that? Oh. Screws. Okay. Okay, so we are not gonna use well, I guess I could. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll use the fans for that. I was thinking hooking all the fans up to the fan controller, but I guess we can do that. Okay. I don't think I have any extra length whatchamajigger extensions for this, at least for now, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. This is a double-sided glass build, and I do want, if possible, for the builds to look good. I like the idea because we do we use the builds on video sometimes. I mean, you guys have seen it. It'd be nice to have them look good. What is going on here? Okay. So there's a, when it's closed, there's a sheet of smoked glass on there. Okay, let's see how we want to do this. Maybe that? Can I go under here? No, it looks like we can't. Maybe I can do that. Ooh, I could do that. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, I can do that. So the video should be a little better quality than before. I was originally thinking, well, no, it's not going to make any difference, but actually, there is some quality gain on the new camera. It'll affect some things more than others. Okay. Ooh, it worked. Nice. Well, I guess I'm glad I pre-did a lot of this build before because I was not expecting this. I thought this was going to be just a quick, like, 15 minutes, throw it all in the case and be done with it. I was not expecting to have basically a full build that I had to do here. Okay, how do I want to do that? Let's do... You can go there, and then... Can you go under there? Where can you go? Can you go under there? Yes, you can. Okay, sweet. So we'll just do that. Not a fan of this edge. I wish that wasn't there. I'm going to finish this thing up and find out that there was some setting in the camera I didn't do that I didn't even know about. Like, oh, it'll turn out that I didn't select something that was necessary to, like, I don't know, make the audio, like the audio won't be connected to the video or something ridiculous like that, because this is the first time I've used this. Okay. Okay, so that's all good. And then, okay, so we're going to need, how do I even want to do this? So I apologize to those of you, I know there are a few of you who are more into my longer stuff. The shorts are mostly, not entirely, but mostly not instead of full-length videos. They're actually, with the way my weeks have been, the shorts are actually mostly instead of nothing at all. The shorts are what make it so I can crank something out every day. But to those of you who like the longer stuff, I gotta say, at the end of the day, nobody watches my long stuff. Oh, look. My camera says it's getting hot. Let's see if it overheats. How long is the video? It's going to be hilarious if it overheats right at 30 minutes. That's just great. What's going on here? I thought I set it so that it wouldn't, so that it would run hot, but we'll see what happens. Okay, and then we need... Can I use you? Yeah, I can use you. Let's see here. What is that? Oh, that's for that. Interesting. Okay. I had stuffed the extra PCIe plugs down in there. That's what that was. So this has a hard drive in it. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Let's see what it is. Kind of curious. I'm guessing it's one of my 4s, but I don't know. What we got going on here? 4TB, Western Digital Green. Terrible drive, but whatever. We'll use it. Do not buy Western Digital Green drives. They're terrible drives. I'm just speaking on my own experience on that. I am 100% certain somebody will see that comment. Yeah, I haven't had a problem with any of them, but I've had more. I don't have a lot of drives that fail, and I have a lot of drives. And of the drives that I have had fail over the years, generally speaking, it has been more likely for it to be a WD Green than anything else. And even if you never have a problem with the drive, their garbage performance level. Oh, come on, don't do that. Do not fall down in there. Okay. I totally forgot about these two. And I also totally forgot about front panel audio. Let's see, one's a USB. One is that. One is that. Okay, I think I may have just lost. Come on. So this build is going to be used for whatchamajigger. This build's going to be used for SLI testing and single GPU testing for period-specific GPUs. So we're going to be looking at when I finally do the multiple 1080 Ti's. I'll probably do those in this build. Okay, so we are starting back up. It's about an hour later. The camera overheated, so so much for my raving about my new camera being able to record longer. I think it went for right about 30 minutes. Okay, but we're picking off right where we left off. I literally, the moment it stopped recording, I put everything down so you haven't missed anything. Okay. So as I went over before, this is not a build for a buyer. This is one of my personal builds, but I do still want it to look good. And sometimes these giant bundles of cables are just a pain in the butt. It's fine. Okay, so what's going on here? And where did I put front panel USB-C? It is here. Is it you? No, that's not it. Wait, does this? Yeah, this has front panel C. And the board has front panel C. So I'd like to have my front panel USB-C. Where are you? No, that's that. It's going to be in here somewhere. You, maybe? I think it's you. Or not? Looks like I did a little bit too good of a job hiding some of this stuff. Like I said, this is the second build that I have done. I probably should have just ripped this whole thing apart and done a fresh build, to be totally honest. Okay. So then where is USB-C? It's not you. It's not you. It's got to be here. I must have stuffed it up in here or something. I haven't a clue where the thing went. Yeah, because you've got front panel USB. One of these is front panel USB. I'm sorry, one of these is front panel USB 2.0. And one of them are, well, maybe not. No, one of them, no, maybe I'm wrong. What do we got going on here? Ooh, did I find it? Ooh, I did. Okay. Now we're cooking. Oops, did not mean to do that. Oh my gosh, I'm just making this whole thing worse. Okay. So let's do our interior connectors. So, got you. Okay, front panel audio is right where it always goes, which is, what is this? That's USB. That's not front panel audio. I think this is the USB to run the Corsair fan controller. This was one of the problems that my my Sage board had, actually, was that it had no front panel USB-C headers. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah, you should, even if you're shooting for like legacy free, you should have at least one front panel connector. Okay, let's see here. Power, yeah, okay, I think they did do this right. Oh gosh darn it. There we go. Okay. What is all that? That is that. And you go right here. Boom. Okay. And that's probably going to have to go down one. I feel like maybe, yeah, let's do this. Let's put this. I think I prefer hiding these up over here and then doing that right there. And then, as I mentioned before, be aware there's going to be a sheet of glass right here. And I bought this case because I like the way it looks. And so, because I like the way it looks, I kind of want it to look the way it's supposed to look. Which means you do want to do a fairly nice cable management job. kind of crazy that this computer is just like extra hardware lying around the house. Up until just like 2 years ago, this is the kind of hardware I would have had in my own personal build. In fact, my first X299 setup was originally going to be my Plex server. Or no, I'm sorry. My first one was going to be my workstation build, which is my secondary build. And then I ended up making a bunch of money at my job the first year. And I said, okay, well, I'll just buy myself a really, really nice workstation instead. So I did that. And I ended up making a ton more money. And I said, well, okay, then I can build myself a current gen workstation to go with my current gen gaming desktop. And that was 13th gen, and I still have them, both of them, the gaming and the workstation. So that was 13th gen. And then I said, well, okay, we'll use the X299 for the Plex server. So we did that. And then I kept making tons of money. And so I said, well, I might as well build a 12th gen i7 as my Plex server. So I did that. And then I didn't really have any use for the X299. I kept it around because I didn't really know what to do with it, but then when I got back into selling systems, I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to get for me to kind of jumpstart on the builds. And so the X299 was the first decent build that I sold when I got back into it. I mean, it wasn't crazy high end. It was like it was the 9820X with a Titan X Pascal. And so, I mean, it was a decent build. It wasn't crazy, but it was decent. The guy that I sold it to actually kind of specifically, at least from what he told me anyway, if I remember right, he kind of specifically subscribed to my build style, which is older high-end hardware rather than newer low-end hardware. Which I kind of do a little of both now. If I get the parts for a newer low-end build, I do that. If I get the parts for an older high-end build, I do that. It tends to be easier to get parts for older high-end builds just because, I'll probably do a video about this, but what tends to happen is that regardless of what the hardware is actually worth on the open market, when you're looking for deals, people tend to, the older the hardware gets, the further they get out from the original purchase. If they're not the kind of person who really cares about that stuff like some of us, You know, especially if they're people with money and they just want to get rid of their hardware and they're not really like a lot of people that you deal with on the secondhand market, they're kind of disconnected from the value of the hardware. Like when they post their computer, they're more like they'll say, okay, you know what? I want, I don't know, $100 for my computer. And it'll have nothing to do with what the hardware is actually worth. Like the hardware will still be worth like, say, $500 or $600 or something. And they'll say, but I just want $100 for my computer, because that's just the number they get in their head, and they're like, okay, $100. And that's how much they sell it for. And it has virtually nothing to do, again, like I said, with what the hardware is actually worth. It's just the number they got in their head. Like, oh, $100. I want $100 for my computer. And they sell it for $100. Okay, where did that SATA cable go? Where are you? I don't think I can. Yeah, that needs to go down. Well, at least that's right there. Okay. So that needs to go in the second one down. Yeah, so like I was saying before, to those of you who like the longer stuff, I'm not going to stop making it, but the reality of the matter is I make a 30-second short and it has better viewer retention, gets better, not just percentage-wise, but better actual total view time, and makes more money than if I did a long video. So it's like, what's the point? Hopefully, hopefully more of the new people coming in are gonna like this kind of stuff. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3. I originally wanted this build to be able to do 4-way SLI, which it technically can't now because card 1 here, card 2 here. Wait, no, 1, 2. Oh, no, 1, 2. This might this might be the wrong board for this. I guess you do 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. X16. I guess they'd all be X8, X8, X8. I guess is how you would do that. They replaced the board was in a Puget Systems build. They replaced the Aorus thingy here with a Puget Systems thingy, which I wish they wouldn't have done, but whatever. Okay, so then I guess really all I need to do is put a GPU in here. What do we even want to put in here? Let's do I guess we'll do the 3070. At least now, temporarily. Okay. So it's not going to remain a 3070. That's not really the right. It's not really the right GPU for the build. But temporarily for now, just while I'm making sure the thing works, we're going to do the 3070. Yeah, so 2-slot. I guess this is a, well, no, 2-slot, 2-slot, 2-slot. Yeah, so realistically, this is only, let's see, so 1, 2, 3. So I'll be able to do, I think, 3-way with the 980 Ti's. I kind of was thinking I was only going to do them 3-way anyway, though, just because of the fact that it's kind of there's like no performance gain. As cool as it seems having 4-way SLI, there's just no. In fact, I think it's more common to lose performance with that 4th card than gain anything. Plus, you lose stability too. 3-way SLI is kind of same. 3-way SLI and Crossfire are just it's not that great. Okay. So in theory, this thing should work now. So let's see what we get. Okay. So there's already an SSD in here with a Windows install on it. Let's see. I'm kind of digging the fact that this board has Thunderbolt. I was kind of trying to move to all of my boards having Thunderbolt when possible. Okay, and then let's see. Let's do. I guess we can always just run it into my capture card on the other machine. I didn't even think about that. Because I got the camera up on the main gaming monitor. Let's see here. What the heck is going on? There we go. Okay. So let's see. I guess as long as it turns on without self-destructing, we're technically good. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see what it does. Well, it looks like it's working. Let's see here. All of our Corsair fans are working. Oh yeah, okay. I think it's good. Yeah, I was really hoping I wasn't going to have to put a bunch of effort into the fans because this isn't really supposed to be. I used them. I used the Corsair LL fans because I had them on hand, but this wasn't really supposed to be like a primarily pretty build. Okay, so it looks like it's working. So then, I guess I'll just let it. Let it do its thing. Well, I guess not. Okay, so let's put in our DDR4 RGB kit that I was going to put in it. Hopefully it still works. I've had it sitting on my desk for like 6 months. So this is basically enough RAM for 4 builds with 32 gigs or 8 builds with 16. I think if the situation with RAM stays the way it is very long, what the heck? Okay, so looks like what's these? I think if the situation with memory stays the way it is for very long, I think you're going to start seeing either system prices are going to go up, or you're going to see what the heck? Oh, come on. Why? Why couldn't they just make this simple? The way they have the memory labeled is kind of nonsense. I think this is what they want. You're going to see a resurgence in being able to sell systems with 16 gigs of RAM in them again. I kind of have been still doing it, but I think you're going to see a return to 16 gigs being mainstream and 32 being considered high, and 64 being considered really extreme. These RAM sticks, these RGB RAM sticks, were going to go in my X99 build, but X99 cannot control RGB memory, at least from what I've seen. But I believe X299 can. Okay, that worked. That's good. So let's see if we actually have the right amount of memory when it starts up. Should be 32 gigs. Yeah, it was kind of pointless to put the RGB memory in the X99 build because it couldn't control it. Come on. Oh, look, it's trying to force the Windows thingy on me. No, I'm not signing up for a Microsoft account. Okay. Now, just because all of the RAM is showing, or all of the RGB is showing up, does not mean the RAM is working. Okay, 32 gigs, so it is working, so that's a good sign. Okay, so the build is good to go. So this will have a variety of different GPUs in it. I'll probably do initial testing with maybe like one of my 1080 Ti's or something, but this was just, I had the 3070 sitting there, so I was like, what the heck, might as well. Anyway, though, hope you guys found this interesting, and sorry it's been a while since I did one of these. Just a combination of not having time and sales kind of slowing down a little. So we'll do more, though. So anyway, thanks for watching the video.